Hi, my name is Sarah Monzon. Thank you, Tony, for having me here on your channel. I'm the author of 11 books, currently writing a romantic comedy series called the Sewing at SoCal series. I'll be reading an excerpt from the fourth book, my latest release, which is Amanda. I'll just be reading from the first chapter. This is in Amanda's point of view. Whoever said it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all was the biggest liar in Earth's history. I'm talking right up there with the serpent in the Garden of Eden. That's how much hogwash that pretty piece of fruit dangled before all our broken hearts is. Because how is it ever better to live without love when you've experienced it in its truest form? I let my head fall to my desk, moving my arms at the last second to cushion the blow. Although maybe I should have let my brow take the full brunt of tender flesh against unforgiving wood. The abuse would be no less than I deserved, according to some. I'd seen the judgment in my coworkers' eyes as I'd taken my box of shame, the one the division had given me to move my belongings out of my closet-sized office and carry the white cardboard cube to the elevator. I hadn't been fired, not exactly, but my boss had been less than impressed with my firefighting skills. More specifically, that I hadn't been able to put out the flames the Stampeders' starting pitcher had ignited when he took a knee during the national anthem. Because of that, they transferred me to the other team bazillionaire Jordan Phillips owned, the football team. No, the irony was not lost on me. I lifted my head and blinked up at the computer screen, a groan lodged in my throat. The prospect of working with the San Diego Condors had sounded like a nice change of pace at first. I preferred football to baseball for one. The Condors were also having a great season and even had a chance at the Super Bowl this year. And to top it all off, I could take Nicole's daughter Sierra to a game. She played quarterback for a youth team and had a killer arm. A few pictures of her beaming face in the team's colors of burgundy and navy, plus a signed ball from Grant Hawthorne would earn me brownie points with my friends to make up for all the times I'd had to cancel plans with them lately. There was just one snag in the whole deal. One hiccup. One Peter Reynolds defensive end. My breath shuddered in my lungs. But how hard could avoiding a 6'4", 260-pound man be? Especially when I was probably the last person on the planet that he'd ever want to see. I scanned the words in the email for the third time, willing the letters to have somehow rearranged themselves to say something else. Anything else. Amanda, we need you to work your magic. Peter Reynolds has gotten some spotlight lately for his sportsmanlike conduct on and off the field, and we want you to make sure that his name continues to trend as we head toward the playoffs. Drop everything else. Peter Reynolds is your only focus. Jim. That focus blurred my surroundings, fogging the photo beside my computer, one of my sewing circle friends and me at Molly's wedding, striking poses like we were the last members of Charlie's Angels, finger pistols and all, into an indecipherable haze. What would that person with the oh-so-helpful love-lost platitude say to me in this situation? Probably something equally unhelpful. Or maybe they adopt one of my coworkers' expressions, one that says it's all my fault. But that's only partly true. Had the decision been mine alone 5 years ago, things would have been different now. For one, I wouldn't be slumping in my cheap office chair wishing floors literally opened up and swallowed people. New low, wanting the fate of Cora. But I hadn't been able to make my own decisions for so long I'd almost forgotten what it was like. Instead of being my own woman, I had to continually bend to Dolores' will. She was why I canceled my plans so often that my friends thought I was a flake. She was why I'd been pushing my boss to allow me to work from home for so long. And she was why I'd broken both my and Peter Reynolds' hearts our freshman year at the University of Florida. Go Gators! The logical thing would be for me to separate myself from Dolores, as she was obviously not a healthy influence in my life. Ha! Pun not intended. See, while Dolores was all too real, no one could see her. No, she wasn't an imaginary friend. Anna had been the last friend that only I could see, and that friendship had ended when I was 5. Dolores wasn't imaginary. She was invisible. And yes, there was a difference, even if I had been told by multiple people that everything was only in my head. But just because something is invisible doesn't mean it's not real. And since the many doctors I'd seen couldn't diagnose me and give this thing that had taken over my body a name, I done it for them. Thank you for listening, for having me, and I hope that you guys will give the Sewing at SoCal girls a try, and Amanda. Have a good day.